to the video, and today we're going to be talking about tips and tricks with crypto. So I just want to mention that, like I have mentioned in the other videos, if you want to see a specific tips and tricks video on a certain legend, just comment below. I think up next we have Mirage and then Caustic, so be on the lookout for those ones. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. So first things first, always use your drone in every fight. But as you see here, you want to make sure you don't put it too high, because if it's too high, it will not pick up anyone on the ground or in the area. So you want to put it in the air, but not too high. I personally like putting it a little higher up, just because it gets an aerial view, and sometimes when you're fighting, a person's first instinct isn't to just look up in the air and shoot out a crypto drone. So a lot of times when you're just fighting, your squad versus their squad, it's probably not going to get shot down unless there's like a lot of downtime in the fight, like a sniper battle or something like that. But for the most part, if you're running around with R99s and close range weapons, it's going to get lost in battle and people are going to forget about it. So the next tip I have, as you can see right here, if you're holding down an area, you always want to throw out your crypto drone watching your back. For example, right here you see I have it, watching both of these two doors or any point where an enemy can flank us. Because with crypto, you basically have a free opportunity to never have somebody have an advantage on you, in terms of if you're holding down in an area and someone comes behind you. That's almost never an option if you just always throw your crypto drone and set it where you think you might get shot from the back or where enemies might be able to come from. You want to just minimize that risk. Therefore, you have a better chance of knowing if they're coming and being able to get out of there and avoiding maybe getting pinched or just an unfortunate situation. So it's definitely good to avoid. So the next tip I want to talk about is kind of hiding your drone. Like I said before, it's nice to put it in an aerial view, but you don't want to just leave it out in the open and just hovering there. Yeah, it can get lost in battle, but sometimes it will get shot down. You can't always avoid that. So a really good tip is to have it attached to a building, maybe, an object, a rock, anything, the side of a mountain, any high elevated area where you can put it there and kind of try to stick it to an object almost and blend it into the surroundings. It's never really going to blend in because it's glowing orange for the enemies, so they're always probably going to see it. But as you see here, you can put it in spots like this right here, just to give it a little bit of cover. Or you can even hide it a little bit behind objects like this wall right here, or like a rock or something. Just have it peeking around the object, therefore it's a little bit harder to get shot at. These little things help, but you definitely don't want to obstruct your angles and your sight of the drone. Therefore, you're going to be losing it marking enemies, so you don't want to interrupt its sight lines for the most part. But definitely try hiding it a little bit, sticking it to a wall or something. I do prefer overall the aerial view, but it is whatever you want, and it is pretty situational. So the next tip on the list, we have always recalling your drone. Now this is just a basic one, but it's something you want to get in the habit of doing. It's just useful all around, because you want to have the drone, if you're leaving an area, you want to have the drone in your hands and ready to go. So if you're fighting or you're watching an area with the drone and you're gonna leave that area and you are, just recall it. It takes a second, and it's just gonna help you out in terms of convenience. And you're gonna always want the drone on you, so that little second might save your life. Who knows? So just get in the habit of doing that. Another thing I want to talk about is using the drone to collect banners. This is also situational, and I feel like a majority of players do know this, but you want to always remember that the drone can collect banners. So if your teammates die, you want to use the drone to collect the banners, because there's probably going to be enemies guarding the boxes for a short period. You want to wait a little bit so that maybe they clear out. If they don't, it's still a safer alternative than just running up and dying, because that's probably what's going to happen. So when you're crypto, you want to always use the drone to collect the banners. This will possibly save your game. If you can get both banners up, respawn your teammates, and do that, you'll be fine. Another thing I want to talk about is the EMP itself. So I feel like a lot of people don't use it correctly, but there is a couple ways that you should be using it. And one is you should be activating it before you get to the enemy. You don't want to get to the enemy, have them see the drone, and then activate the EMP. It's going to get shot out. So what you want to focus on doing is using the EMP before you see the enemy. You know, if you hear them, or even you could see them a little bit, maybe they don't see your drone, but if you know where an enemy's coming from, you want to activate the EMP and then just go towards them. That way they have less time to shoot it out of the air. They might have 1 second now. And it does have a large radius, so don't be afraid to use this very early, because the drone moves fast and the radius is large, and the charge up time on the EMP is actually a pretty long period. So another tip for the EMP is to use it behind cover. The EMP works through walls, so if you know enemies are holding down a building, you can just EMP the outside of the building. There's no need to send your drone into the building and then it gets shot. It's not worth it. You just want to maybe EMP the outside of the building. The radius is huge, so it's probably going to hit everybody in the building, but you definitely want to do that to avoid it getting shot out, because it's never going to get shot out if they have no possible way of shooting it out. Another tip, and this is possibly the most important one for crypto, that is using your EMP and being in range to capitalize on it. Now, I feel like a lot of people mess this up. You know, they'll have their drone like 100 to 200 meters out, and they find people and then they EMP them and then they rush. But, you know, you're 150 meters away. At that point, you know, by the time you even get there, they're going to be healed up completely and they're just going to be waiting for you, ready. So what you want to do with the drone is you want to be about, 50, or I don't know how long the range is exactly, but you want to be basically just out of the range of it. That way you use the EMP, and when you rush, you can catch them trying to use a battery. Now, if you catch them trying to use the battery, you're going to do a lot of damage to them, because they're not going to be able to shoot you. They're going to be completely defenseless. Now, on the video I just posted, actually, I execute most of these tips pretty well, so if you want to see it in action, check out that video. I show a bunch of EMPs, and they're all pretty effective. I show the pushing method, and I actually caught 2 people in using batteries and using cells. So that just goes to show you how effective it could be if you're close range and you're able to rush. So keep that in mind. You want to be close by. That's probably one of the most important things about crypto. So that's all for today's video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Activating hardware reboot.